Just tell us a little bit about, your title, again, Career Experiences Coordinator, the scope of your role, and how you support our IT students in particular.
Again, my name is Dr. Adam Williams. I am a Career Experience Coordinator with Metropolitan Community College. My role focuses in on IT programs. I look to provide opportunities to students. One of the big key focuses of that is really bridging the education to employment gap.
Welcome to our MCC Office Hours podcast. My name is Art Brown. I currently serve as the Dean of IT at Metropolitan Community College. A pleasure to be here today. The purpose of this podcast is to take an in-depth journey into the world of IT at MCC and what that looks like around the Omaha metropolitan area. Today, I'm happy to have with me one of my colleagues, Dr. Adam Williams. He currently serves as a Career Experiences Coordinator here at MCC in support of our IT department. Dr. Williams, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Got you. Thank you, sir. Well, we're going to jump in. So I'm going to give a little overview of what we do in the department as a whole. And then, Dr. Williams, I'm going to come back to you and we'll talk a little bit more about how you provide support and services to our students. So, okay, sounds good. So, again, to our listeners, welcome to our podcast. Again, here to talk about what we offer as far as educational pathways or opportunities for MCC IT students. So our program focuses on applied learning skills in IT. And specifically, we offer 5 pathways of study for IT students coming to Metro. The first being administrative technologies. Students pursuing that pathway can choose typically pursuing careers as office assistants, administrative professionals. Component of that would be digital technology skills, so a lot of emerging technologies that are under the new and emerging space. We'll talk more about that at a later point. The second pathway we offer is computer programming, and students pursuing that typically take those foundational computer classes. We have 4 core areas of study in programming: Python programming languages, the Python programming language, Java, C#, and C++ are the core languages we offer. Those core courses lead to a career cert. Second level opportunity would be web and mobile app programming, so students that want to have, I would consider it a pre-software engineering pathway. Students get real-world application web app development that can lead to a pre-software engineering pathway. This year, we're also offering a game development track as a second level tier on top of computer programming. So students get the foundational skills on building real production quality games at an entry level. So we teach those foundational skills. Our third pathway is database and database administration and data science. So level 1 opportunity for students provides foundational database administration skills. The second level is data science, so students get some exploratory courses in foundational data science skill sets that they can build to lead to entry-level opportunities. Third pathway is what I would consider, we call it information systems and technologies, but it's more like an IT infrastructure path. We have 4 concentration areas, so we provide foundational hardware, networking core skills at the level 1 pathway, and then students can pick a second level concentration, the first being Cisco networking, learning the nuances of proprietary Cisco equipment, routers and switches, and security. Second, we have a cybersecurity specific track that students will take those foundational hardware and networking skills and use those to move into an entry-level cybersecurity skill set and hopefully ultimately a position. Third, we offer cloud server administration for those students that want to really solidify those networking skills and move into a more of a cloud and server administration path. That is the pathway they would choose. And then finally, we offer an IT support as part of that IT infrastructure or information systems pathway. And then finally, we offer a web development track. So students that are interested in what we would consider now UI or user interface or front-end development, they would choose that web development path. And so 5 core applied learning pathways. And then additionally, a lot of people don't know that at Metro we have a really robust transfer pathway for students that intend to go to a 4-year. So specifically, a good majority of our students go to University of Nebraska at Omaha or UNO, and we have a computer science transfer pathway as well as a MIS pathway for students that have a definite intent to transfer to a 4-year institution. I'm really proud about that pathway. We've put a lot of work in working with our counterparts at UNO. So we have regular meetings with the deans and associate deans and faculty to help ensure our curriculum maps cleanly to UNO and students can have a seamless transfer without loss or minimum loss of credit at any of those pathways. So 5 core pathways, 2 transfer options. So we're really proud about that. And students coming to Metro have a really robust opportunity to get a good foundation in IT skill sets. So that's kind of the core of our department. Let's see. We also offer, really pride ourselves on working with our employer partners. So we have a really robust relationship with many local employers. That relationship leads to what we have developed, normally called advisory boards, but we've kind of come up with a coined phrase or a new concept towards advisory boards known as business industry leadership teams. And so with the input of those business industry leaders, we meet on a twice a year with each of those businesses in each of those various pathways I previously mentioned. And those employers provide invaluable input on our curriculum. So our goal is to make sure that we have relevant skills that we're teaching our students so that they can come out job ready, hit the ground running, and be ready for any entry-level opportunity that might present itself. So again, very proud about what we've done curriculum-wise. We continue to stay current and abreast of what the industry is needing, and our students come out well prepared for those opportunities. Specifically, those core competencies we focus on, and I think that's really what I tell any student coming. Just today, for an example, I had a chance to meet with some incoming high school students there in our career academy, and one of the things I stress with them is that it's super important to build foundational skills. So regardless of whatever IT pathway you go into, here at MCC, we pride ourselves on foundational skills. You can go beyond MCC and go to any four-year institution and ultimately into your respective profession, but we pride ourselves on making sure students have foundational skills, because with foundational skills, in theory, you can go anywhere with your IT career path. And finally, the other thing I want to share with our audience, and Dr. Williams, you know about this, is kind of a leading point to get to what you do for us here at MCC, is the support services that we offer our students. So we're very proud to offer a robust menu of academic support services, so tutoring, wraparound services for students at any level, regardless of what they need. And then additionally, to kind of bring it full circle, our career services is where you kind of come into the equation. And so I want to talk to you about, or kind of do a formal introduction and allow you to tell us about what your specific role is here at MCC with regards to career placement, job readiness skills that students develop. And I know you're relatively new to our team, but the concept is not a new concept. I tell you all the time, I'm very proud and happy to have you on our team, because you fill an invaluable void that our students really need to not only secure those positions, but be able to sustain and retain those positions after, receiving an opportunity from a local employer. So if you could just tell us a little bit about, your title, again, Career Experiences Coordinator, the scope of your role, and how you support our IT students in particular.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. So again, my name is Dr. Adam Williams. I am a Career Experience Coordinator with Metropolitan Community College. So my role focuses in on IT programs. So with the whole Path Forward movement that the college has really gained around, what I look to do is I look to provide opportunities to students. So one of the big key focuses of that is really bridging the education to employment gap. So one of the big things right now is that students are finding it very hard to get their foot in the door, particularly in IT programs. So there's a large knowledge gap that students are starting to find, particularly those students that are somewhat new into the field, as opposed to those who have a long-standing history of exposure to the IT field. So for those new into the program, it can be very daunting for a lot of them. So what we don't want is for a lot of students to just give up or look for other majors, and this has been a case for some students. So one of the big things is that we want to provide more exposure to a lot of these students. So we call those exposure more experiences. So experiences is very, very broad in what it can be. So some of those experiences are things like job shadowing opportunities, allowing some of these students to really get with a employer and see what happens on a day in and day out basis. So going to that employer and allowing that student to be able to shadow them for the day. Also, career fairs and other events. We have a big IT career fair that I'll talk a little bit more about later, but we need more events that help students to really get a feel about what this area IT is and what it includes. A big barrier is just understanding kind of what is IT. So for those beginning students, understanding it on a foundational level, it's going to be really key for those students to be able to involve and participate in different events. So career fairs as well as workshops, making sure we have different things like roundtable discussions, all kinds of different things that students can involve themselves in. Also, opportunities with things like IT clubs and organizations. There's a number of IT clubs and organizations here at Metro, there is, and hopefully they can even do a show episode
will.
on
We
that.
definitely will.
Okay. But there is the Women Who Tech, new club, computer programming, ethical hacking for those cybersecurity and networking students. There's other initiatives like Code Black, Emerging Ladies. There's a bunch of different opportunities for students to get involved. So we want to make sure that students are very knowledgeable and understanding what is out there for them.
Well, let me jump in real quick. So, I mean, I know you've hit the ground running since you've been with our team. So, back to those experiences, specifically the Metro hosted one. So,
Yeah.
share a little bit about the one that you coordinated this summer with Scott Data Center. That would be a good example.
Yeah, so number one, students are hungry. So we just put information out and we got a huge response back. So over 80 students had signed up to go to the Scott Data Center, and Scott Data Center told us it's the largest group that they've ever had. So they actually had to fumble around to try to, accommodate us, and they accommodated us very well. They actually split it into 2 different days. The first day, we had a tour in a group of about 25 students, and then the next group, we had close to 40 students. So with that, it was a huge success and a huge turnout. Being at Scott Data Center, a lot of students they understood more hands-on what happens at a data center. They got to talk to a lot of the workers there. There was a big panel that they had set up. They got to ask questions. So a lot of them really enjoyed. We got a very, very good positive feedback from surveys that we did from students. So we're looking to do additional site visits. So in the fall, we have some additional site visits also lined up for us to do with WP Engine and then also Union Pacific. We're really trying to provide as many opportunities. What we don't want is students to say, we just didn't know, or how come we're not doing things like hands-on and getting out there. We want to say, look, these are the events. We are making it very noticeable and visible on Handshake. We'll talk about that a little later. Also, we put it on Canvas, as well as we send emails. And also we just give students a call, and just let them know, look, there's these events. Please make sure you come out. We want to make sure that every opportunity that there is to be able to be involved in different development experiences.
Okay, love it. So let's jump into some of the details. So for those that don't know, I know because we work together daily and side by side, but share with our audience, as a career experiences coordinator, you've talked about the experiences. Let's talk a little bit about some of the, I hate to say deficiencies, but rather opportunities for improvement for our students to get them to a point where we consider them job ready. So talk about some of the services that you provide students in particular to share with our audience. So students, we hope a lot of students will listen to this, but to let them know what they can expect when working with you and the career services team.
Yeah, we get this very commonly. So what can we do, Dr. Williams, to get ourselves ready? Am I even eligible to be able to take advantage of some of this career experience stuff because I'm maybe new or I am a graduated student? So this is services for all Metro students in the Infotech programs. Even those are outside of the program, maybe in another program that are thinking about an IT career field. This is resources for you, as far as it can be anything from having a conversation and better understanding what is the IT career field, and also what programs can be relative to what I'm trying to do. So also we have things like mock interviews. So a lot of students struggle with understanding that, okay, I need to be able to transition a lot of the skill sets that I've learned in education into being able to speak about that to an employer. So we have mock interviews that we do. We set up mock interviews with myself as well as other career experiences teams. We also go into the classrooms and we help other instructors in the info classes to also do mock interviews in those classrooms. So resume development, it's very important to have a resume. A lot of students don't have that. So we help students from the ground up. But also with IT, it's very specific. So you're going to need to also import your technical skills. So having the ability to also transfer your resume into a more specific resume that is relative to your field is going to be very, very key. So making those appointments with us, we sit down with you. We also have resume specialists that will also more specifically help you where some of the other more general resume specialists are not. There's many different services that we provide to really, really key in to make sure that you are ready and prepared to be in front of that employer. So it's never too early to start. Make sure that you are taking advantage of the different opportunities that we provide, but reach out and really just starts to having a one-on-one conversation with somebody like myself or another experienced coordinator.
Perfect. So you mentioned a term I like, I love it, transferable skills. I know students approach me quite often. Our offices are right next to each other, so
Yeah.
I get to hear you meeting with students. But can you give the audience an example of transferable skills, what they mean to you, and how, let's say, a student just entering our pathway, helping them leverage and understand what skills they may have had from a previous career or educational experience that are transferable to IT? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I think there's a myth that number one, that the IT field is, I think they just have this vision of somebody in a cubicle on a computer all day and not talking to anybody. Well, that can be the furthest thing from the truth. There is a lot of teamwork that is involved with all areas of IT. So there might be specific jobs where that might be kind of more so the case, but it is a teamwork centered field. So, number one, just communication skills. So, basic communication skills, those soft skills that we talk to people about, whether it be public speaking or speaking to people in interpersonal communication, making sure that students are able to talk about themselves confidently as well as talk about their skill sets and experiences. So sometimes students haven't necessarily had the opportunity to really go in depth about the things that they have done. They might think that, oh, I just kind of play around in YouTube and gaming and I use these technology products. They don't necessarily say any of that stuff in the interview, but those are all part of their development and experience and those transferable skills, those skills that they do here that transfers into how they can develop those skills and bring those valuable skills to a company. So being able to talk about that and have a narrative to package that is just so key and important. So there's many different skills that we learn K through 12, through K through 12 institutions, being on sports teams, involving yourselves in different clubs and organizations. All of those things matter. And what is so helpful is a student really starting to write those things out, really start to think about those things and then talk about it and organizing those things. And that's where those soft skills and those transferable skills become those hard skills and those technical skills that really a lot of these employers are seeking.
I love it. Great explanation. So I'm looking at the clock here. No pressure. There's so many things I want us to talk about, but I'm going to try to bring this to a close, not too shortly, but a couple of key things I want you to share with us. You briefly mentioned the IT career fair we have coming up. Huge, monumental milestone I feel like our department has not really had before. I know you're instrumental. You're on the ground floor helping us spearhead this. Tell us what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so we have over 30 employers that we are bringing to MCC on Thursday, September 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it is going to be not just a traditional career fair in which we're bringing in students and they talk to students and also pass out information, talk about resources. So it is going to be that, but it's not just that. In a sense, there's a second part of it as well. We don't want just employers just coming in and doing that. We want employers that are going to be serious about hiring our students. So what we also have is what's called speed interviewing. Speed interviewing is almost like speed dating in a sense that it'll be a round robin type of style where employers will have a room and students will come into that room and give an elevator pitch. This would be a digital presentation or a PowerPoint for 3 to 5 minutes. And the student will basically talk about why they feel that they should be hired or they should be taken on by the employer. From that, the employer will listen to them, and those that they are strongly considering, they will reach back out and they will have a formal interview at their job site. So this also has in the past can lead to on-spot hiring as well. So it is a huge, huge, huge opportunity for students. We've gotten the word out so far. Over 90 students have registered for the conference or for the fair. There will be more attempts to get into the classrooms to talk to students specifically and get them registered, as well as get them there to the fair. So it's going to be a huge, huge event. We are really boasting it as a big opportunity for our students, but also for employers, because the demand for IT students in the workforce is huge. So over 700,000, just reading the article the other day, over 700,000 new jobs they expect within the next decade. So in the IT field. So having to be the ability to fill that demand has been a challenge, but it's something that is for MCC, particularly the IT department, particularly I commend you, Dean R. Brown, as far as taking the lead with a lot of that. We are really, really trying to push as many students to fill those opportunities and those jobs in the workforce. So again, this is going to be a huge opportunity. We have a couple of other events that we're also doing. We're going to be going to the AIM Heartland Conference. We're going to be having a big busload of students that we'll take. We'll also be providing lunch for those students. Lunch will be provided, as well as we'll have specific activities there at the conference for MCC students. But it's a huge conference that hundreds of people attend from all areas of IT. We're going to be showing up and showing out at that conference. That's going to be happening October 23rd and 24th. So it's a great opportunity for students to network and to learn more specifically and meet people in those areas of IT.
Right. So I just want to go back to the career fair. I'm personally excited about it for a couple of reasons, not only to showcase our students, but also as an effort to really showcase our curriculum program and the tireless efforts of our faculty. We have put in collectively many hours over the last 3 to 5 years to really listen to what employers are saying, making sure we're teaching relevant skills. And for a lot of these employers, you and I know we've been constantly on the grind trying to reach employers, getting them to come out, and we've had great success thus far. I feel like it's really an open house of sorts for the IT community here locally. A lot of people know about Metro. They know what we do, kind of, sort of, but I feel like, okay, we have come full circle. And, you know, I would put our students up to any student here locally as far as their IT skills. And so I'm equally proud about that we really get to be on full display for these local employers to see what we've done, what our students have learned, and the caliber and quality of curriculum, along with the tireless efforts of our faculty to help get us to this point. So really excited. I'm bubbling over about that, so I really can't wait for us to get to that date. A couple more things here. I know we're running close on time. So Adam, can you share, Dr. Williams, can you share with us, I know you're relatively new in the position, but can you cite any successes you've had with some of the students you work with, like where they've either had a success they've reported to you, or maybe that aha moment in some of your work that you've done up till this point?
Yeah, as you mentioned before, I am new to the role. In my brief time here, there's been a lot of progress, just meeting with students one-on-one to get them really prepared for job interviews. So number one, just mock interviews. So it's something that I'm doing now on a daily basis. So really getting students from a point where they are apprehensive and talking about their skill sets and where they're from, and how that really transitions into them getting a successful position. That really is the really big start of it. A lot of times they don't necessarily see value in the skill sets that they have. So working with them through those mock interviews is really just, you see a lot of growth and development in the students right then and there. Also, resume development, having students go through with a fine-tooth comb. I also want to give a shout out to Barbara Thomas, who's also been helping with helping students getting ready. We do have a career readiness program that we do for students that are a little bit closer to graduating. So one of the things is we want to put a good foot forward with a lot of the students, with a lot of the employers. So the students have been vetted and they have been, in a sense, career ready with certain skill sets. So part of that is resume development, and that's something that Barbara Thomas, our resume specialist, also goes through with the student. as well as mock interviews, things like goal setting, and also handshake profile, and all of these different things really to get that student ready and prepared to be in front of that employer. So seeing that a lot has been just tremendous, and seeing those students now just confident and just saying, wow. Another thing is in the past, a lot of students have found opportunities and jobs with some of our large partners. So Mutual of Omaha has been one, has been a serious partner that we've had where students have gotten a lot of different opportunities, internships that have started off over the summer that have blown into full-time work opportunities. So others have had part-time employment as well. Physicians Mutual has been another big one. WP Engine has been another one. So there's been a couple of other ones, but that's really a big part of my job, really, is to be able to provide more opportunities, not just for students, but also for these employers who are hungry for these students to be able to come in, get them organized, get them in our databases, and now say, okay, we have these students for you. Will you give them an opportunity? And really just kind of put them to the test. Like I said, a lot of these employers are hungry and they've been talking about, but now we say, well, okay, we got these students. What are you willing to do with these students?
Love it. So real quick, we'll talk about one last thing and we'll wrap up here. And I would be remiss, I almost missed it, IT career readiness, that course that we're working, you've kind of co-developed and led. Maybe give the viewers a little more insight for current students that might be listening. What are some of the pre-screening criteria that we look at, and what step would a student take to contact you to get involved, and like what are some pre-qualifiers that we look at to identify students for that program?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Number one, to get in touch with me, you can go to my Handshake. If you're not already on Handshake, make sure you go to Handshake and sign up, because this is the number one way that the college is helping to connect the students to the industry. So, and not just with MCC, but throughout the country, institutions are connecting their institution with employers. So if you're not on Handshake, get on Handshake ASAP. We've been putting it for IT students onto Canvas, as well as there has been emails that are going out. So there is also on the homepage, if you go, there is the Handshake app that you can download, as well as download to get onto Handshake. So if you have not done so already, make sure you do that. As far as opportunities for students to be able to get onto Handshake and then also to take advantage, make sure that you also reach out to myself and connect to a career experience coordinator. We are here to help and to serve you. As far as
The career readiness.
career
course.
readiness,
Yeah.
so for the career readiness, some of our requirements is a 3.0 GPA. So if you're not at a 3.0 GPA, that doesn't mean that you're totally X'd out from the program. It just means that this is a baseline that employers are looking for. So we set that standard. If you're under a you're under a 3.0, you want to try to get that and bump that GPA as close to that 3.0 as possible. But if you're closer to graduating and you're still not at that 3.0, we're still willing to work with you. Some of the other requirements that we look for are foundational skills in your area. So we want to make sure that before we put you in front of a employer, we want to make sure that you have some of the intro level classes and the beginning level classes within your program. So that's going to be different depending on which area of IT or what your program area is. So those are all listed out onto the website. So if you want to go to the IT Career Experiences webpage, and you look under the career experiences or career readiness, tab, you will see all the requirements per program area.
Right. And just to help listeners get there, it's mccneb.edu/IT, right side, IT career experiences.
Correct.
Should get them there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good. Well, Dr. Williams, thank you so much. I know we're running close on time. I hate to say that. So many more things we need to talk about, so we will definitely have you back again, probably shortly after the career fair, to talk about successes and other upcoming opportunities. Let's see. I do want to continue. Let's see. Any closing comments you have or last minute thoughts you want to share before we wrap this up?
Just really the same stuff I was said. I'll kind of just summarize in a sense. Please don't hesitate to reach out to a career experience coordinator, particularly if you're in the IT programs. Reach out to me, Dr. Williams. You can reach out to me through my email, which is acwilliams, the number 7 at mccneb.edu. Also, you can make an appointment with me by going to my Handshake page. Also, if you want to reach out to me by phone, you can do so by giving me a call at 531-622-2124. You can also, if you have questions, say you're just not sure about your program or you're not necessarily sure how that relates to the career, we can have conversations, and it really just starts with you reaching out and get involved in all of those different events that we are putting up. This is for you. Realize it is for you. Take full advantage.
Love it. Love it. So definitely more. When we have you back again, we'll talk about some of the other upcoming events, more details about the career readiness, many things I know we've got going on. We'll share with the audience next time. But again, thanks for being with us today. Again, thanks to the audience joining Office Hours, our podcast. We're getting this figured out, loving this. We're learning as we go. So thank you so much. And thanks to the audience. We hope to have you at another episode soon. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.